Today, we'll be talking about a series that's very dear to my heart, the Fable series. And we'll be looking at the Art of Fable Legends. For those who don't know, Fable is a series of role-playing games made by Lionhead Studios, which closed down. And it was an exclusive title for the Xbox. And then the second one came out for the Xbox 360 as well as the third one. And so Fable Legends would have been the next game, and it was cancelled in 2016. So at least we can enjoy this art book. And unfortunately, my copy arrived damaged. This corner here is a little bit nicked, but I got a good price for it, and it's unfortunate. I don't think I'll be able to fix this. If anybody knows how to try to repair art books like this, I believe it's just on this fold here. Yeah, because, well, there's a little bit of a ding here as well. But here we have some of the art. Now, I don't know much about this game in particular. I have played the 3 Fable games, and my favorite is the first one. And what's so nice about the Fable series, it's got this pleasant feel and this feeling of growing up to become a hero and save the world. But it always tries to stay lighthearted, and there's a lot of jokes in there you'll find in posters and in the ways NPCs interact. And as you play the Fable games, all 3 of them, they really feel like your hometown becomes your home, and you grow attached to your hero. And in the case of the second and third game, you get a dog and you grow attached to the dog. And this is something I didn't know. I haven't looked at this art book before purchasing, so there appears to be some signatures here. I'm not sure if these are signatures of I'm not sure whose signatures these are. So if you happen to know if these are legitimate signatures of people who worked on the game, that's really special. If these are otherwise, I don't imagine why anyone would just sign the book. So hopefully that's what that is, and that's really cool. I'll look into that after. But here we can look at the table of content. I'd like to point out that the first Fable also came to PC, which is nice, because would have been great to play these games on Steam, and there were all these licensing issues, and the art style for Fable sort of reminds me of World of Warcraft a little, much more blocky limbs. Not to that extent, of course, but just more, square silhouettes and characters and defined jaw lines and all that kind of stuff. At first I thought these were stains, but these are actually indicators of the aging, like natural aging in the world. So it's interesting. Here's some of the heroes. This hero definitely looks like a Fable hero. It's a shame the game got cancelled, and we don't always remember these projects that people put effort into, and getting an art book for that is very nice. If we can't get the game, then at least we can get this, and then people's efforts didn't go to waste. And there's actually a new Fable game under development for the new generation Xbox. There's very little information about it. There's just a teaser trailer, which looks really nice, but you know, as teaser trailers are, there's I don't really say anything, so I'm definitely excited for that, and that's the reason for me right now to want the next generation Xbox. So a lot of people are fans of Halo series and such, and that was the big system seller, but for me, Fable is one of the most special Xbox franchises, and I wonder what kind of differences they would have made in Fable Legends, and if any of this game would translate into the new one at all. There's also been a lot of differences in the first to the second Fable to the third Fable. Like in the second Fable, there wasn't really a death in the sense that you die. You just kind of continue where you left off, and they made modifications to the customization. Initially, you'd be able to heavily customize your character, and then as the different Fable games progressed, your options to customize and equip things changed, and they took a bit of that away. And generally, I do like simplicity, but in this case, I feel like I would have preferred having more of that depth. Okay, looking at these characters, it kind of reminds me of different classes and quality 3D models here. They show you both the concept and the 3D. The Fable series has always been about making choices and how it makes your character look good or evil, and how you impact the world around you. And they haven't been incredibly deep, but it still gave you this feeling of what choice should I make, what kind of outcomes can I have, and the Fable series really pioneered this. There weren't many games doing it so much and pushing forward, and at the time, so it was quite revolutionary. You can see the different color schemes here. I always found the Fable series do a good job of giving you the sense of progression and improvement. And you start off as a weak kid, and eventually grow into having all these abilities, and having NPCs react to you differently, and it's a nice feeling. really sad that we don't get to experience all of this work beyond the extent of this book. Fable is another one of these, similar to some of the other books and shows and games that I've covered. There's really not a lot in merchandise. Aside from this book, there's no figures, there's no other books. So if you want a representation of Fable on your shelf besides just the game disc, this is really the only option. So I'm hoping that when the new Fable game comes out, there is some kind of collector edition, enhanced edition that comes with a figurine and art book and more content to really have representation on the shelf. Of course, that depends on whether the game is good or not, but the team working on the next title is the team that was working on the Forza series, so definitely a very capable team. It's a different genre, so it'll be interesting to see. I believe they're also using the same engine, so it's interesting to see how that might translate. I mean, there's definitely great graphics and fidelity and all that, but how would this apply to a fantasy world as opposed to a racing world, and what modifications to their engine do they need to make to fulfill all those needs? This is interesting. You see a skeleton in the mirror. I wonder what the story behind this is. See a skeleton and then he's got armor on. I should have read the excerpts, but I'll do that later. First I thought this was a stain, but this is actually her shadow. It's always the concern with used books is their condition and what's a stain, what's damaged, and what's actually how it is. Game development's a very long and challenging and risky endeavor, and so if a studio doesn't have a major success that allows them to make up for potential losses down the road, then or if they don't release games frequently enough, then they run into problems and can't stay afloat. I really like the side-by-side concept and 3D model. lets you compare really well. Wolverines. I believe these are enemies that existed in prior games. Definitely look like the kind of werewolf-like beings that we've seen before. These are very pretty sketches here. Really set a mood. The artist did a really nice job for the concepts. And this might be one of my favorite pieces of art so far here. Kind of reminds me of a villain in the original Fable game with that mask. Something about that mask. This art book is nice to share because it doesn't fold up as much and there's empty spaces in the middle, so nothing gets missed on camera. This looks like a kind of witch doctor, plague doctor. People of Albion. So this is still in Albion, which is the region where Fable takes place. Locations. This is a nice looking village. I would have wanted to walk around here and go up to the top and look out of that tower. And the waterfalls. This is lovely. I wonder if that's more of the same village from a different view and a little bit more zoomed in details. This page is in the east a little bit. I got it. The Fable art style is nice because you can quite easily identify if it's a Fable game or a Fable concept. It stands out and apart from other games. And it's a sturdy book with thick pages and nice hardcover. The Old Kingdom. I imagine that's where all those druid-like enemies would be. To say, in terms of environments, these are some of the nicest. Statues covered in moss. And we saw a sketch of that just before, and now we're seeing it in color. It's a nice sense of scale for these. Oh, that moon-shaped, almost like hedge or tree. This is really interesting too. I like this page a lot. A bit of a scratch here, but it is a used game, so, a used book. Doors and runes. These kind of floating rocks. Sort of reminds me of Zendikar from Magic the Gathering. Oftentimes when I see floating rocks, that's what I think of. Also, senses of scale to the house and the scale of the bridge to a person. It's nice to see that. So, these look like giant vegetables. Interesting setting. Oh, and all these different characters. It's a nice page to summarize things. Even included some symbols here. Stop on the acknowledgements. This doesn't separate too well, this page here. This book owes a debt to the incredible creative and imaginative people at Lionhead Studios whose enthusiasm and ideas provided the seeds that germinated into the fine artwork of this book. I'm really glad that they made this book because at least we get to experience that, and it's a pleasure to look through. So anybody that is interested in the book, something in the back here. And then there's more on the back here, and then you can see what the MSRP is roughly in US, Canadian, and UK, and I believe I paid a little bit less for that, but it's also a thick hardcover, relatively heavy book, so shipping it would cost a little bit more. ForbiddenPlanet.com, is that where I purchased it? I'm not even sure now, but this appears to be a sticker that maybe they added it, but anyway, so the Art of Fable Legends. Thank you for watching.